2019 campaign for Portland Timbers 2 off to a hot start with a pair of results on the road that sets the stage for tonight's home opener as Portland Timbers 2 welcomes Las Vegas Lights FC to Merlo Field in Northeast Portland. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings currently in USL Championship. You see Portland Timbers 2 coming into the weekend tied for third, right now tied for fifth. With a result tonight would move up the standings. Meanwhile, Las Vegas Lights in 15th place in the difficult Western Conference. Welcome into the broadcast booth alongside two-time MLS Cup champion, former Portland Timber, Nat Borchers. I'm Fletcher Johnson. Nat, a strong start for Cameron Knowles' side in his second year as manager of this club.
Yeah, and the team this year has really looked more mature than last year. They've gone on the road. They've got 4 points out of those results, and they've done a really good job playing in transition. But more importantly, they've really done a good job of playing in a good mid-block defensively, which Cam Knowles has emphasized so far this year.
Meanwhile, for Las Vegas Lights, a side that is led by first-year manager Eric Winalda, a name familiar to many in American soccer. He's still looking to try and develop the identity of what he wants his team to be.
Yeah, certainly, and it's still a work in progress, and you can see from the results he hasn't got what he wants yet in terms of scoring goals, but you can see it's there. He wants to high press, and he's certainly bringing his own personality to this team.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our players to watch tonight. We'll start off with T2, and it is Marvin Loria. A pair of goals last week that earned him a Team of the Week honor, and he is dangerous with his left foot.
He certainly is. He's so much fun to watch on the dribble, just getting at players 1v1, and look to him to play that final pass to Foster Langsdorff in that third.
Meanwhile, for Las Vegas Lights FC, it's Christian Hernandez, also known as Tripa, and he is a dynamo on the ball.
And T2 has not seen a player like this yet this season. It's going to be fun to watch him. He can spray a nice long ball and play that final pass in the final third. Very dangerous player to watch in this game.
This is the third all-time meeting between Portland and Las Vegas Lights as the two sides squared off once here in Portland, once down in Vegas. Each team won on each other's home field. We'll see what tonight holds for Portland Timbers 2 and Las Vegas Lights FC. It's T2's home opener. We're back with starting lineups in the opening kick after this. Back on the campus of the University of Portland at Merlo Field for tonight's home opener between Portland Timbers 2 and Las Vegas Lights FC. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world since 1947. Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lineups tonight. We'll start off with Las Vegas Lights. Big note here is that number 3 on your screen, Kevin Garcia Lopez at right back likes to bomb forward.
Yeah, he's not going to really be a right back, is he? He's going to like to bomb forward. Tripa, the number 10, is going to come inside. Number 3, Garcia Lopez, is going to go way up and bomb forward and commit numbers to the attack.
Let's take a look at the starting line for Portland Timbers 2 under second-year coach Cameron Knowles, a 4-2-3-1. It'll be Jake Leaker in goal, and Todd Wharton, one of the offseason acquisitions, comes in and will play an interesting role for this side.
Yeah, and he's not a traditional holding midfielder. It seems he's gone forward quite a bit in the last couple games for T2. Look for him to really combine with Zambrano and Flores in that midfield 3, and it's really going to be interesting to see how they work together.
Well, fields don't get much better than the one we have here at Merlo Field, arguably the most exquisite soccer field in America, home of the University of Portland Pilots men's and women's teams. And T2 this season will play at least 4 matches here. Farhad Dadko is our referee for this evening. He's assisted by Seth Martin and Babacar Jallo. And his 4th official, Corbin May, blows his whistle, and we are underway in T2's home opener against Las Vegas Lights on a beautiful evening. Temperature will drop into the 50s as we continue on into the night. Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers here with you as Las Vegas Lights maintain possession here early on, wearing the white tops, blue shorts. Meanwhile, T2 in the all-green kits for tonight's home opener. Long ball forward from Robinson. Eventually ends up with Jadama or Hansen, although he can't control. Aspria able to clear momentarily. Ball now back at the feet of Nathan Smith. T2, as we mentioned, 1-0-1 so far here in 2019. A behind draw at Tulsa in the season opener, and then a 3-1 impressive win last weekend against San Antonio FC. As here's Tripa, who takes a shot. It's blocked by Mojadama. Back in, this time easily rolls to the feet of Leaker.
Yeah, and you can already see the pressure that Las Vegas is going to put on T2. That's one of the emphasis Winalda has on this team, is he really wants to high press. He wants to commit numbers forward into the attack. Certainly, it's going to be something T2 is going to have to be wary of and be very careful when they're playing out of the back.
One of the interesting facets about T2 last season, despite all the success, Merlo Field was actually a place that they had difficulty winning games. Went just 3-5-0 in 2018 here. Actually played much better at Providence Park. But they did fare well in their home opener last year in this building. They'll try and duplicate that effort here this evening, as Las Vegas wins the throw-in.
And I say you could eat a filet mignon off of this field, Fletch. It's such a nice pitch. It's just been manicured and groomed so well. And for the players, they're going to enjoy it to play on a pitch like this. And you can really skim the ball around the field and really enjoy your soccer on the pitch like this.
Here's Garcia Lopez, blue hair and all. Tries to chip over the top. Tripa not making the run. And Roy Miller shields out across the end line.
And I find this matchup just so intriguing because you have 2 teams who are trying to do different things and try to be successful at those things. For example, the T2 is really going to want to sit more in a mid-block defensively. That's the emphasis for Cam Knowles this year, is being very structured and organized in that middle third, whereas Las Vegas is going to look to transition very quickly. They're going to want to dictate play and press as high as they can.
Tripa's through ball cut out by Roy Miller. Laureate then fouled by Tripa. And Laureate remains down, holding and gripping at that right ankle. Boy, what a season it was a year ago for Marvin Laureate. A player who had so much success in 2018. Scoring goals, assisting on others, creating chances for this T2 side. It resulted in being signed by the MLS Timbers in the offseason, and still having the opportunity to come into this USL T2 side and get games and continue to improve his abilities. He was on loan from Saprissa in Costa Rica last year, but certainly showed the Timbers brass some things.
Yeah, he needs to be on the ball as much as he possibly can, especially in transition for T2, because he's just so good at running when there's space and running at players and making them commit defensively. Such a fun player to watch, and so much talent for Cam Knowles.
Well done by Aspria to win the ball, and then is fouled. So T2 will have the restart inside their attacking half. So we get a look at Andres Flores, another player coming in from the MLS Timbers here this evening.
It's going to be interesting to see how he fits into this midfield three for T2, because you had Eric Williamson in there, who was a little bit higher, a little bit more of an attacking type of a player.
Bad turnover there results in this opportunity for Las Vegas Lights, and Roy Miller with some emergency defending to not allow Vegas to get that shot on.
Yeah,
for Las Vegas.
Sorry, Fletcher. Roy Miller having to come over there and make a big time play for T2. Got to be careful with those plays. Las Vegas Lights can definitely hurt you on the transition.
The Lights' only goal this season is off a corner kick. Here's Pablo Cruz. He'll play it short to Tripa, goes back to Cruz, and now he'll send it in. Header won by Nathan Smith. And here comes Renzo Zambrano wearing the captain's armband. Another player who had a successful season. Touched by Foster Langsdorff. Falls to Loria. Loria tries to give it back to Langsdorff. Too many bodies in there, though. And Las Vegas clears.
That's really good from T2. Just getting the ball forward in the transition, finding the right pieces, and it almost comes up with something at the end there. But Las Vegas Lights, they do commit numbers into the transition.
6 minutes still scoreless between Portland Timbers 2 and Las Vegas Lights FC. Gave you the rundown for T2 so far this season. Meanwhile, for Las Vegas Lights, a side that played Austin Bold to a scoreless draw on March 9th in their season openers. This through ball just too far out in front of Preston Tabor Tateka. And then last week, a 2-1 loss on the road to OKC Energy. Despite results that Eric Winaldo would have liked better from, it's a side that outshot both opponents and create problems for teams game in and game out. Asprilla and Garcia Lopez in a foot race. Garcia Lopez able to earn a goal kick.
Yeah, and you look at both of those results. The first game of the year, they're playing against Austin Bold, who they really sat in and absorbed a lot of pressure from Las Vegas. And Las Vegas just didn't do a good enough job of breaking them down. They were sitting really in that deep defensive block, and they just didn't have any ideas. In that second game against OKC, very much a lot of the similar situation. They just weren't able to get the opportunities they wanted to. And, you know, so there's some frustration you can see within the team now. They haven't gotten the results so far. It is early, but they certainly need to do that.
With that being said, as Foster Langsdorff is fouled there by Moby Fair, is this the type of team, Las Vegas, where they're at right now, that if Portland can kind of control this match, they can get Lights FC to be frustrated and maybe get out of their comfort zone and out of any rhythm they're trying to build here this evening?
I think it's certainly that. It's being disciplined defensively, being patient, and letting Vegas bring their numbers forward, because they're going to commit a lot of numbers forward, and if they don't break you down, they're going to get frustrated. They're going to leave tons of spaces open in the transition game, and that's where you want to hit them. They commit 5, 6, 7 numbers forward. We saw it last year as well. It is a different coach, but it is the same type of a team, and they want to score goals. They want to high press, and that's where you got to hit them.
Asprilla not able to turn his header on frame there, and the service from Flores off the restart. Cameron Knowles in his second season had a chance to catch up with him before the season started a couple weeks ago. Really interesting how a year of experience has helped him in terms of his knowledge of this league and really what his expectations and goals are. Last year it was really development through success. Now it's a matter of same development through success mentality, but the opportunity as the season goes along to start to bring in more academy players and give them experience here at this professional level, taking on other USL championship players.
Yeah, that's important. Bringing the young guys up, giving them minutes that are meaningful. These are games that mean a lot to players to come in and wear the crest. And it's, you know, it's one step just below the first team, and that's where you want to be as a young professional, and you want to get those minutes and get that experience.
Great switch by Renzo Zambrano to pick out Harold Hansen. Ball now at the feet of Loria. Out to Smith, one of the holdovers from last season. He is fouled. And quickly restarted by Roy Miller, a 34-year-old from San Jose, Costa Rica, signed by T2 on March 15th. Here comes Smith, his cross blocked by Garcia Lopez. And Lights FC come the other direction. Nifty back heel, doesn't quite come off too far out in front of Tabardateka from Irvin Parra. The two men who more or less play up top for Eric Winalda in this 4-4-2, although Nat, it really isn't much of a 4-4-2 from Lights.
No, it isn't. And you're looking at the way they're shaping up right now. It looks like a five-man midfield for Lights. Looks like Preston's playing here on this right side, and Parra's playing up top. They're very fluid in their movement.
Here comes Asprilla, corner of the box, does well to bring it down, and Langsdorff has given T2 the opener in the 10th minute.
What a great start for T2. It's a long ball from Jadama, who just finds Asprilla on the wing. Takes a great first touch, gets him into space, and he crosses that ball into the middle. It's just a one-time finish from Foster Langsdorff. He's a guy who's not going to miss from there. Wonderful cross there from Asprilla. Just gets his right foot on it. Foster Langsdorff shows everybody he can finish in that box. 1-0 T2.
Foster Langsdorff finished tied for 12th in USL last year with 14 goals. 11 of those 14 came at home, so you know he likes playing in Portland. And he starts his home season off with a goal in the first 10 minutes of action. Can't ask for much more if you're Cameron Knowles.
It's a wonderful ball from Jadama. He has a lot of range in his passing, and for him to pick out Asprilla like that, especially with the right back like Garcia Lopez, he likes to commit forward, and he's not usually found in that position a lot connected with his back line. So very astute pass from Jadama, and certainly paid dividends on the score.
We've seen it happen a couple times now. T2 have done it playing long balls forward or long balls over the top. As it seemed early on, Las Vegas was controlling the midfield with the five guys that you mentioned playing in there. Is that certainly kind of a strategy that T2 and Cameron Knowles are using here early? Well,
it just, you play with what the game gives you, and I think that sometimes, especially with a guy like Asprilla, he's so fast as a winger, and he definitely takes up positions that are much wider than a lot of midfielders do, and I think it's just a really heads-up play from Jadama to find him on that pass.
Daron Asprilla, member of the MLS Timbers, coming into tonight's match for T2.
But these are the moments, Fletch, where T2 have got to earn their defensive money, so to speak, because this is where the emphasis is trying to make sure it's not easy for the Lights to find spaces, find gaps in this middle area. It's about being patient and trying to win the ball in the wide areas.
And mind you, some of the reason that we might be seeing Asprilla, Flores, and some others come in from the MLS Timbers tonight. A couple of guys who have played a couple games already for T2, Marco Farfan, Eric Williamson, are away with the US U23s. Both of them played in yesterday's match against Egypt. Farfan in the first 45, Eric Williamson in the second 45, as Las Vegas comes forward and cleared away relatively easily by Mo Jadama.
T2 have to be careful there on that right side of defense. It's just been too easy for the Lights to get in there, and with their movement, their overlapping movement, to get in behind the right back there, Nathan Smith. I apologize, Harold Hansen.
Ball drop back for Robinson. He'll swing it back out to the far side. Taken there by Palafox. First time we've called his name tonight, Miguel Palafox. As Parra was able to get in front of Jadama momentarily, but couldn't quite get enough on that cross. And Leaker easily saves. Jake Leaker, a new addition to this T2 side, the 6'6", 210-pound, 23-year-old from St. Louis. He's a player that Aiden Brown raved about to us a couple weeks ago. Thinks he has a lot of potential. Comes over from Real Monarchs, where he played last season.
Yeah, and he's been solid. He's done his job. He hasn't made any mistakes that we've seen so far in the 2 games he's played. I've really liked his decision making, and he's a big guy. He's got good technique. Obviously, a great guy to learn from. Aiden Brown, who has so much experience, and so there's a ton of talent there for Jake Leaker. It's going to be fun to watch him.
Really is amazing, Nat, coming into last season we were wondering what this T2 side was going to look like under first-year coach Cameron Knowles. He did have and continues to have Andrew Greger, who was the previous coach, on his side. His nice touch there from Wharton gets Langsdorff into the box. He's taken down from behind, and it will be a penalty kick. So Langsdorff has earned another opportunity for Portland to put a score on the board.
This really comes from an entry pass from Harold Hansen, finding Todd Wharton between the lines. A great first touch there to get Langsdorff behind the back line, and it just pushed from behind. Very clumsy there from the defender at Palafox. I'm not sure what he was thinking there. Easy call for the referee, penalty.
It looks like it'll be Foster Langsdorff that has the opportunity to strike this one. He was 3 for 6 in 2018. Scored against Los Dos, Oklahoma City Energy, and Fresno. Missed twice against Phoenix and once against Tulsa. Looked to start off the season from the spot 1 for 1 here in 2019. Whistle blows. He'll strike it with his right foot. And it's saved! Saved by Thomas Olson. Diving to his right, was able to get his left leg on it, pop it up in the air, and results in a corner kick.
That's a tough PK from Foster Langsdorff. I think he was trying to hit it down the middle. The goalkeeper does a great job just to stay big, make sure that his toes are staying in the middle of that goal to make that save. I think Foster, if he would have done that over again, probably go a little bit higher towards the middle, but a great save from the goalkeeper.
This one comes into the penalty spot, cleared away by Las Vegas. Taboratak able to get around Smith. Advantage played. The Cameroonian coming forward. Langsdorff quickly back to defend. Slows down the transition, and then Renzo Zambrano doing what he does so well, breaking up any sort of pass forward. And T2 back in possession.
But you can just see how quickly Las Vegas Lights just commit numbers into the attack. It's 5-6 players just going into that final third to try to get numbers, and they really need to make sure that they're connecting those passes if they're going to commit numbers like that. Otherwise, the transition game is wide open. As you can see, Spria was heading the opposite direction. He had a ton of space if T2 could have found him.
T2 had a golden opportunity to go up 2 goals just a quarter hour into the match. We'll see if that's a situation they end up ruining, as you have to imagine the save from Thomas Olson gives Las Vegas Lights a little bit of energy maybe that they haven't had so far, especially after Langsdorff put the opener in.
Those are big moments, being able to save a PK. The difference between being down 2 goals versus 1 is huge in a game when you're on the road for the Lights.
Garcia Lopez slips as he was getting ready to send the cross and allowed Nathan Smith enough time to recover and clear the ball away. Torre, pressured by Langsdorff, gets the ball out to Palafox. He's able to work his way around to Spria, who's back now on the far side. Now to Tripa, who's been quiet since the first couple minutes.
T2's got to be really careful. They're getting very narrow defensively and allowing a lot of space in the wide areas.
Comes the by Palafox, I believe. And T2 with a chance to come the other direction. Flores instead will play back to Smith. Smith will pop it over the top, looking for Loria over his head. And Las Vegas back in possession. Over to Robinson. Gabe Robinson from Valencia, California. Spent 2017 with the LA Wolves, semi-professional team. It's one of the things you'll notice about this Las Vegas Lights side. A lot of players with semi-professional teams the last couple of years, players that Eric Winalda had identified as players that he thought would be valuable to a team. And when he got this role with Las Vegas Lights, really started to put his stamp on it, at least with the types of players he was looking to bring in as Langsdorff is offside.
Yeah, and you think of a guy like Eric Winalda, he does have a ton of personality. Back to that PK, it looks like Langsdorff hits it with a lot of pace, but I don't think he gets it right down the middle like he wanted to. It goes a little bit towards the keeper's right, and it's a great save from the goalkeeper. I'm a big fan of going down the middle as a player because goalkeepers usually choose one side or the other, but you have to get it in the air. If you're going to get it, you smash it down the middle. You can't keep it on the ground like that.
There are very few weak parts of Foster Langsdorff game, and not saying that penalty kicks are one of them, but he has struggled over the past couple seasons in making sure that he finds the back of the net.
And no more clear cut than the penalty like that. That was an easy call for the referee. Sometimes when you're fouled in the box, you want somebody else to take the penalty, not the guy who gets fouled, somebody else. But certainly in that opportunity, Foster decided to take that upon his shoulders, and he's a good goal scorer certainly, and just needs to do better there for the penalty.
Fans follow Portland Timbers 2 and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN+ and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at espnplus.com. This ball forward for Asprilla, just a little too far out in front of his pacey legs. And Olsen off his line to collect.
I think it's good from T2 to continue to try for that ball, because if Asprilla can cheat just about 5 yards forward in those instances, he can really find that space that the outside backs are vacating from Las Vegas, and the counterattack is on.
Here's Tabarteca. His cross blocked by Smith. Cleared away by Laurie, who plays it out to the far side to Asprilla, too far out in front of him. Palafox heads it down. Jadama tries to keep it in play, cannot. And Babacar Jallo raises that flag, and it'll be a Lights FC throw-in.
So far, we're 20 minutes in. We really haven't seen Tripa, the number 10 for Las Vegas Lights, get involved. He's the guy who's going to be making plays in the offensive end for Las Vegas. He's just so good with his left foot. He can spray the ball 30, 40 yards on a rope, and just haven't seen him get on the ball enough. And I think that he needs to come back, find the game a little bit, and Las Vegas will be much more dangerous.
Smith has been busy here through the first 22 minutes of action. Eventually, ball works its way over to Mo Jadama. Important header win there by Palafox in front of Asprilla. Otherwise, Asprilla could have been in 1v1 versus the keeper. Wharton able to win it off of Tabarteca. And then Tripa fouls Andres Flores, and he will go in the book in the 22nd minute. So our first yellow card from Farhad Dotko goes to the number 10 for Las Vegas Lights, Cristian Hernandez, also known as Tripa, who is a very skilled player. High school, he was a top 10 soccer recruit in the nation out of New Jersey. Went on to be the USDA U18 Academy Player of the Year in 2010, but is on the wrong side of this challenge here.
And you can just see that's a frustrated tackle there from Tripa, just not getting on the ball as much as he wants to, and takes down Andres Flores. Clear-cut yellow card. Good call by the referee. I know there's no hesitation from the player either. You know it's probably a good call.
Yeah, you know, and you know, in some senses, I imagine that for whether it's him individually, Tripa that is, or the team as a whole, it's kind of can be another one of those let's wake up, let's go type moments. I'm willing to take this yellow card if it means it's going to get us a little bit more into this game, I would imagine, right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You want to make a statement sometimes and let the rest of your teammates know, hey.
Loria takes the shot from distance. Had Thomas Olsen worried, he was diving to his left, but well wide of that left post.
And this is the factor that Loria brings. He's able just to take he takes a quick touch to settle the ball. And he just rifles that ball past the goalkeeper. It definitely goes wide. It didn't bother the goalkeeper, but you like to see that from Marvin Loria, just to take one right there. And he's typically so good on the dribble. He's going to definitely worry some of those defenders on the back line for Las Vegas.
Throughout about the first maybe month, 2 months of last season, Marvin Loria was struggling, I think, to kind of find what his role would be, what his place was on this team. hit his stride. There was a match in which T2 scored 7 goals. It was against Los Dos last year, and he had a few of them. And from that point forward, he really found his rhythm, found what his role was on this team, and he's been supremely confident ever since. As Wharton well off of his line, or excuse me, Leaker was well off of his line, and so Tabor Iteka decided to take the shot. Didn't get enough on it. Leaker was able to recover in time. But scary moment there for T2.
I think Leaker thought Smith was going to head that ball back to him. He doesn't. He tries to clear it, and Leaker is in no man's land. That could have been an easy put away for the number 19 for Las Vegas.
T2 up 1-0 thanks to a 10th minute goal from Foster Langsdorff, assisted by Dairon Asprilla. Could have been 2-0 as Foster Langsdorff was taken down in the box 5 minutes later, but then his penalty kick was saved by Thomas Olsen. And so we stand at 1-0 here, 25 minutes in. Restart for Las Vegas. Tripa the strike. Put this one into the box. Dangerous. Falls to Palafox, who almost looks like he was only able to get his chest on it and ends up wide of Leaker's net.
And this is where the Las Vegas Lights are very dangerous, is in these set-piece moments. They've got a lot of big guys. They've got Torre, they've got Robinson, they got Palafox. Very, very tall guys. And you look at that line from T2, they didn't defend that particularly well. Robinson was wide open there in the box, and it looked like he might have gotten fouled. Some shouts for a penalty.
Ball out for a T2 throw, quickly back into the attacking third. Spree and Hansen, nice move by Hansen to get around a couple defenders. Palafox then eventually able to clear it out to touch once again, but Harold Hansen, the 19-year-old from Ontario, California, showing a little bit of skill in his 3rd season with Portland Timbers too.
Yeah, and this guy, he's 19 years old, but you see him play and you see how big and physical a presence he is. He's like a bull in a china. He's knocking guys around, and he's still figuring out you know, his positioning on the field. I think defensively at times, and certainly where he wants to go in the attack, but just tons of upside potential for this guy.
Asprilla tries to head it over. Palafox to himself, nearly gets there, eventually falls to Wharton, plays to Zambrano, quick one touch to Flores, back to Langsdorff. Loria wasn't making the run, able to get on it anyways. Langsdorff with the top of the box. Langsdorff taken down, a free kick from a dangerous position for T2. It's where you start to see the development of the chemistry having played together for these guys last year.
And Foster Langsdorff just trying that through ball here. I think if that's on the right foot of Loria, he takes the first time hit. Pretty obvious foul there from Fair for Las Vegas, sets up the free kick. Yeah, you see the development coming. You want to, as we talked about last year, you want to be able to develop these players by teaching them how to win. And I think that's one of the emphases for Cam this year and for last year, is just trying to say, hey, these are the moments you need to manage. This is how you grow as a player. And you have these games like this. These are all situational moments where you have to figure out, okay, how are we going to win this game? And this is how you teach your players and how you develop them.
And how awesome for the guys like Renzo Zambrano, Foster Langsdorff, Nathan Smith, to have Andres Flores, Dairon Asprilla, Roy Miller all in there with that veteran presence, that veteran experience. As Flores rolls to Asprilla, his shot blocked by the wall.
Well, it's such a different mentality from what Las Vegas before the game about what their mentality is, and they want to just win. There's no development side of this. Obviously, they want to progress and become a better team as the season goes on, but it's not about development for them. It's about getting wins. So completely different, but for T2, it gives them great opportunity to develop players, and certainly playing against a team who's hungry to win, like Las Vegas, gives you a lot of experience.
Comes Asprilla dribbling forward. His pass cut out by Palafox. This Las Vegas Lights side came into the league with a lot of glitz and glam last year. Had El Chelis as their manager early on before his son took over the managerial duties so he could become technical director. Known for crazy on-field antics. If the team would win by 3 or more goals in home matches, they would give the players casino chips, llamas on the field for pregame festivities and such. So Las Vegas is known for what happens here stays here, but the stories didn't stay there as it related to what Las Vegas Lights had antics-wise before and after games. The El Chelis experiment did not end up working out. Only 5 players back from that team a season ago. Eric Winalda's brought in a whole new cast and crew. 8 of the new 18 players are from California, so players that he would know well, living in Westlake Village, California. And most of the new players on the Las Vegas roster played for Eric Winalda at some point in the past as well, whether it was with Atlanta Silverbacks and NASL, Cal FC. There's a couple of those players from when he was manager there back in the early 2010s, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it's only 4 or 5 returning players from the team last year. If you look at that team last year, in one word, it was volatile. It was a lot of ups, a lot of downs, some interesting tactical decisions. Certainly with the personality of Chelis, you got the personality of that team, and I think you do need to blend some of the culture of the place you live in with the team, and I think Winalda is trying to do that, but he's brought in his own group now, and he's trying to make it work with guys he knows, guys he trusts, and there's a lot of talent on this team, but they still haven't quite figured it out, but it's a long season.
Parra fouls Todd Wharton. Half hour in here at Merlo Field on the campus of the University of Portland. Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers here with you.
Yeah, it looks like Parra just holding his ground there. Get some contact. Easy call for the referee, but so far it's been all T2. They've just been very good in the final third. Las Vegas has had maybe 1 or 2 chances to score, but they haven't gotten it done. T2 has just been very clinical. Foster Langsdorff with the penalty obviously could have made things a little bit different, but so far looking like a very bright start for T2 at home this year. Zambrano
out in front of Asprilla. Asprilla tries to work it around Palafox. In the end, earns a throw. Dairon Asprilla, 26 years old, from Colombia, a part of MLS Timbers. Diego Chara, of course, of the MLS Timbers, almost like a brother to him, helped him gain his footing here in Portland. The differences between the cultures. And continues to stick with MLS Timbers. Had a big goal in the playoffs last year for the MLS Timbers against Seattle Sounders in extra time in leg 2.
It's been interesting for Dairon. He came in with the Timbers initially, played in 2015, won the championship, and then left, then came back. He's been in lineups for stretches and then out of lineups. He seems to show up late in seasons for the team. Had a great, fantastic goal in the playoffs last year against Seattle.
Parra takes the shot from about 35 yards out, well over Leaker's net.
But when you watch Asprilla, he's got the tools. As a winger, he gets wide of that touchline. He's got the pace, the power, and he's got the finishing ability as well. He just still needs to work on a couple facets of his game to get to that next level.
Asprilla is taken out. Farhad Dadko said that Palafox got the ball. Asprilla remains down, though. He went full Superman through the air after that, and it looks like, yes, Roy Miller will play it out as Asprilla remains down. Farhad Dadko will come over to take a look at Asprilla and see if he needs the trainer, Greg Wakefield.
He just gets all of Asprilla there. Asprilla's just trying to run through. He thinks he has it there, but Palafox says, no way, you're not coming through this area. That's a heck of a tackle. All ball as well.
We get a look at Cameron Knowles in his second season. 18, 13, and 4 as Asprilla is up, and the fans are applauding. Cameron, though, once again assisted this year by Andrew Greger and Aiden Brown. Chemistry, the continued development of the coaching staff, the players, different strategy a little bit this year as Tabor Ataka throws it into Miller.
We talked with Cam about the home form and why it was more difficult, it seemed, for the team to get results at home versus on the road. And he made a good point. He said that you know, at home the expectation is that the T2 is going to dictate the pace of the game. They're going to be having front foot soccer, and it kind of opens them up at times. Whereas on the road, that's not the expectation. They can sit a little bit more in the mid block and absorb pressure and then counter, which was, I think, more in their DNA last year.
Space up the left side here for Cruz, but he can't chase down that ball from Fair. Yeah, it was a T2 side that I think were trying to figure things out last year, figure what direction they wanted to go. They started to develop an identity with the same thing that's happened so far this year, results on the road early. And in a sense, the way that T2 earned a result in the opener this year was very similar to a lot of their early season games last year, which was go down early but find a way to claw back into the game and at least earn a point out of it. Then they go to a very well-respected franchise in USL San Antonio, get a 3-1 win last weekend that saw Marvin Loria score twice. T2's only goal given up was off of a penalty kick. So nothing from the run of play, and it just seems like, especially with Roy Miller in there in the defense, Mo Jadama's Jake Leaker nearly has a shocker there. In the end, it's at the feet of Tabor Ataka again, top of the box. Now with Fair. Fair will play it outside to Cruz. Cruz sends across in, deflects off Jadama, make that Harold Hansen. Jadama controls, gets it to Hansen. And Hansen is able to clear only as far as Palafox near midfield. Dangerous moment there by Jake Leaker. First time really all season we've seen him make a mistake that's nearly cost his team a goal.
Yeah, I think he got a little bit too cute there. He's trying to play with his left foot to find the left back.
Shot from distance from Tripa, high over Leaker's net. 36th minute, still 1-0 in favor of Portland.
This is just a shot from distance from Tripa, who's finding the game a little bit more, as we're seeing. But you go back to that play from Leaker, he's been so solid throughout the season. And again, at home, sometimes you play a little bit differently because you want to be front foot soccer. You want to have possession. You want to dominate the game because you feel you have your fans behind you. You feel that energy. But sometimes you have to be, you know, very smart with the ball. And plays like that or what can happen if you get a little bit too confident on the ball.
Jadama gives up a corner kick here. It'll be Tripa to strike. Once again, Lights FC's only goal has come off a corner kick this season. He'll play short. He gets it back just outside the box, takes one touch, a second touch to get around Flores. Will shoot, and a wonderful diving save to his right from Jake Leaker.
The T2 allows Tripa to come in on that left foot. He's going away from goal, and he's able to smash that ball to the far post. That is a wonderful save from Jake Leaker there. Just gets down to his right and paws that ball past his outside post.
So the third corner kick will come from the opposite corner flag. Sent in high into the box. Leaker comes off his line. Don't know if he gets anything on it. In the end, Wharton wins a header, gets it out to the corner of the box. Only to Palafox, though, sends it back into the mixer, headed up in the air by Asprilla, still in the box, cleared away by Hansen on a bicycle kick. Does well enough to get it far enough away. Would have liked to have done better, though. Palafox defended by Asprilla. He loses out, and Zambrano picks up the ball. Zambrano does well to keep it away from Tripa. And now down the line for Flores. Flores steps over it to Boritaka, shoulder to shoulder. Flores wins out. Just can't quite get enough on that ball to get it to Langsdorff at the penalty spot. And here comes Lights FC the other direction. Things picking up dramatically. Loria, central for Wharton. Into Langsdorff, who's onside. Langsdorff, surrounded by players, goes down. Eventually falls to Miller. T2 would certainly like to find another here before the break. Flores, corner of the box, gets around one man. Central for Asprilla. Asprilla gets it caught up a little bit, eventually gets it to Langsdorff. Langsdorff shoots with his left foot, blocked by Palafox, and eventually cleared. Asprilla Almost looked surprised to find the ball there, didn't know what he wanted to do with it.
Now, this is good from T2, just having an opportunity at goal and then being able to recirculate the ball, calm things down a little bit, pull Las Vegas out, just find the open pass. This is really good from T2. Get that possession, find that rhythm.
Las Vegas will try and push numbers forward, and Portland will just play it over the top, headed away, and eventually won by Wharton, who will reset back to Leaker. Leaker high in the air over midfield. Robinson wins the header. Wharton controls down to Zambrano. Get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for Portland Timbers 2 and then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus get reminders on Portland Timbers 2 next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. Here comes Asprilla down the near side. Advantage is played. Asprilla 1v2 here. Does well enough to get it to Langsdorff, who tries to send it back to Asprilla, just a little behind him. Actually, that was Smith. Smith now taken down by Garcia Lopez. A foul will be called. So another dangerous opportunity here for Portland.
Yeah, T2 just making sure that they're moving the ball very quickly from side to side, and they do a great job recovering here that ball. It's a missed pass, and I feel like Garcia Lopez may have gotten the ball there, but the referee calls a foul.
So Flores stands over this one. See what he decides that he wants to do. He has Wharton standing about 20 yards away from him near the top of the box.
This is one of those balls you have to just fizz right across the 6 and just hope one of your guys gets on the end of it. You got to send a few numbers there in the box, but it's not a ball you're going to be able to loft up in the air.
Flores does exactly what you said he couldn't do, which was loft it up in the air, and ends up in a goal kick for Vegas.
It's certainly easier said than done. He just gets underneath this, but you can see the idea. He's just aiming for that back post, wants to get a little bit more of a driven ball, though, there to give his teammates an opportunity on goal.
Eric Winalda having a chat with Tripa over here on the sideline as we're in the final 5 minutes of the first half. And that, as we know, especially when you're dealing with young players, these are the moments, these are the times in which games can, a lot of times, be won or lost. Important for T2 here to continue to move forward, but not concede.
Yeah, you read my mind, Fletch. This is the final 5 minutes of a half that you have to be switched on. That you have to manage. We talked about development through winning, and these are the moments. These last 5 minutes we manage. You're managing a win right now, but you have a guy like Roy Miller. He just steps up, makes a play right there. He's been influential for T2 so far this season. You know, watching him play against San Antonio last week, just very good reading plays, stepping, communicating. He's given the back line a lot of experience, and I think he's going to really be an additional piece for T2 that they've really needed.
This ball fizzed out of play by Torre. Jabin Torre, previously with FSV Frankfurt. Another player that Eric Winalda was excited to have the opportunity to bring in. His pass went awry there. Now Smith finds Zambrano.
That's so good from Zambrano to take that first touch and just settle things. He's been such a good player for T2 in these first 2 games.
Nice cutback ball for Langsdorff inside the box, shoulder to shoulder. Do we see a foul called? We see another penalty kick earned by Foster Langsdorff. Eric Winalda is incensed.
That's a nice pass there from Andres Flores, who gets Foster Langsdorff in behind. And yeah, he's coming in from behind. Robinson, he just uses his shoulder to get contact with the backside of Foster Langsdorff. That's a penalty. He doesn't come in from the side, which wouldn't have been a penalty, but I think the referee gets this one right. That's a penalty.
Well, it'll be Dairon Asprilla who gets the opportunity to take this penalty kick. Thomas Olsen already saved one in the 16th minute against Foster Langsdorff. 2 minutes before halftime. and T2 have a chance to double their lead. Asprilla gives Portland a second in the first half. Olsen dived to his right. Asprilla struck it hard, got it up in the air, and there was no doubt about it.
This is just a textbook penalty from Asprilla. Just smashes that ball right down the middle, gets some air under it. Olsen goes the wrong way. That's an emphatic PK from Asprilla. 2-0 to T2.
I have to imagine that, especially as a former defender yourself, you're going, just don't give anything up, get to the break up 2-0.
Well, I was going to say that the PK, we talked about that before. Langsdorff takes his, and just the difference in technique and the way they approach it. Both went down the middle, but Asprilla gets a little bit more power on it and gets some air on it and scores. But yes, now you have to just be smart. These final moments of the half, don't give anything away. Maybe even get one.
Turnover. Flores picks it up corner of the box, takes a shot, and just wide of Olsen's right post.
Yeah, they've got Las Vegas on the ropes right now. It's not going well for them to turn over in midfield, and Flores just goes for that far post there. What's a wonderful save.
It's a save.
Keeper, yeah, just gets his fingertips on it to push it wide.
I was going to say, it looked like it was inside the frame of the goal, but Olsen does well to get his right hand on it and deflect it just wide. Final 7.65 seconds of the 45 minutes here in the first half. We'll see how much time we're going to play as the cross comes in from Wharton towards the penalty spot, floated. Just 1 minute of stoppage time here at the end of the first half, and we are into the added minute. T2 regain their shape as Jadama and Miller hustle back. Zambrano quick one touch out to Hansen. Zambrano playing with a lot of confidence right now. Flores taken out. Dangerous challenge there, and another yellow card will be shown. This one to Christian Torres, the 22-year-old from Mexico, goes in the book.
Yeah, this is another frustrated tackle here. He's nowhere near the ball, just leaves his feet. Clips Flores there on in the ankles, and it's just an easy call from the referee. Las Vegas they're making it just too easy for the referee to make these calls in terms of the penalties and the yellow cards.
Farhad Dodko checks his watch, and that will be the end of the first half. A first half that saw Portland Timbers 2 jump out to the early lead in the 10th minute thanks to a Foster Langsdorff goal on a cross from Dairon Asprilla. And then just before half, Dairon Asprilla puts his penalty kick past Thomas Olsen after Foster Langsdorff earned the PK, and we head to the break. 2-0 in favor of Portland Timbers 2 over Las Vegas Lights FC. Got a full halftime show for you coming up, so stick around. We'll be back at Merlo Field here in just a moment. 45 minutes down here at Merlo Field on the campus of the University of Portland as Portland Timbers 2 find themselves out in front 2-0 over Las Vegas Lights FC. Welcome back into the broadcast booth. Fletcher Johnson, Nat Borchers here with you. And Nat, it was a solid first half from T2.
Yeah, it was. T2 did everything they needed to do. Defensively, fairly solid, but in the space is very easy in transition against this Las Vegas Lights team and putting 2 goals away.
Let's go ahead and take a look back at some of the moments from that first half. We'll start off with the goal that Foster Langsdorff got on the pass from Dairo Asprilla.
Yeah, and it just comes from a switching ball from Jadama, and Asprilla does everything right, takes a good first touch and just fizzes that ball across the net. Foster Langsdorff says, hey, I'll take that all day of the week. Those are the goals that I score. He makes a fantastic run out of midfield. You watch that run, he takes a 40-yard run and just finishes that ball back in the net for the first goal.
So that was in the 10th minute. Then just 5 minutes later, Foster Langsdorff earned a penalty kick. He had a chance to double the lead.
Yeah, it's a great save from the goalkeeper. Langsdorff could have done better, though, to hammer that one down the middle, but a good save and certainly a good opportunity for T2.
We moved to late in the first half, around the 37th minute, and Jake Leaker was called into action. He stepped up brilliantly.
Yeah, Tripa with a massive shot there, and Leaker with a Uso big-time save, falling to his right, and this is a very difficult save to make, but keeps his team in the game, going to his right, and that ball is a very difficult save.
So those are some of the big moments in the first half. We'll continue to break it down and start to look ahead to some of the second half, as well as get to some storylines across the league as well. Portland Timbers 2 out in front, 2-0. Halftime at Merlo Field as Portland Timbers 2 out in front in their home opener 2-0 over Las Vegas Lights FC. Let's go ahead and take a look at the updated standings across the Western Conference of USL Championship. This, of course, the last game of the night here in USL Championship. So Portland Timbers 2 tied for 5th right now in the Western Conference, although a win would obviously vault them up into a tie for first place with Tulsa Roughnecks. So things looking pretty darn good for T2 here early on in the season with the way they've started off the 2019 campaign. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other scores around USL Championship. As you see, St. Louis and Tampa Bay a 1-1 draw. Real Monarchs no problem with Los Dos today, 5-0. Tulsa 4-0 over Tacoma Defiance. That's the former Seattle Sounders 2 club. And Sewell Park Rangers play to a 2-2 draw with Pittsburgh Riverhounds. So those are some of the action around the rest of the league. And as we welcome you back into the broadcast booth once again, we take a look at a couple storylines across the league, specifically focusing on Portland Timbers 2. And really, now we start looking at the fact that T2 has started the year undefeated and certainly looked good through the first 45 tonight.
Yeah, and you want to see the team continue a trend. In the start of the season, to go undefeated on the road is just so difficult in this league, and I think it just shows the commitment to defending so far, the ability to transition, and the maturity that this team is showing. They're showing a lot of maturity early on in the season, and getting early results is going to give you a ton of confidence with the rest of the season.
One of the interesting pieces of the way that T2's constructed this year, just about 11, 12 players are officially signed on the USL roster, which allows T2 to bring in players from the MLS Timbers to get games, but also to bring up academy players to have the opportunity to get games as well, which is crucial.
Yeah, that's a big time part of this whole process, is giving guys experience coming up from the academy, and then obviously giving guys from the Portland Timbers the experience, the minutes that they need to continue just to stay fit and to be ready for the Portland Timbers when the time is called.
Well, when we look at T2's successful start, one of the pieces that's certainly a huge part of that is the 34-year-old center back, a guy you know very well in Roy Miller, Costa Rican native, recovering from that torn Achilles a couple seasons ago, played about 7 games with T2 last season, but officially signed with the club on March 15th.
Yeah, and I've had experience going through the recovery of an Achilles injury, and I couldn't come back. But Roy Miller, he did a fantastic job with his recovery. He's such an experienced guy. He's got a great smile on his face, comes to training and works so hard, but he brings so much experience to this T2 team, and a lot of the guys are just going to be infected by his experience, by his winning ways and his attitude, and I think it's really going to have a positive effect on this T2 team.
And especially as we look towards the second half, I got to imagine he can be a calming presence for this side as they try and manage this lead.
Yeah, I think managing moments is a crucial piece to Cam Knowles' side this year, is just figuring out, okay, at the end of games, at the beginning of halves, okay, what do we need to do to make sure that we're making the right decisions? Do we step the line up? Do we drop the line back? You know, all kinds of situations that you don't really get to see on the stat sheet, but are very important when it comes to success.
Well, when we look back at the first half tonight, there's no doubt that it was a half dominated by Portland Timbers 2 on the scoreboard and on the stat sheet as well. We look at some of the numbers. Las Vegas Lights, believe it or not, still out shooting Portland 9-8, but otherwise it's been a half dominated by T2.
Yeah, and T2's gotten the goals that they've needed, and it's been critical. They've looked better as a team just with their possession, with their rhythm. Las Vegas Lights look a little bit clunky when it comes to the passing and trying to figure out where they want to be when they're going in transition and on the attack. And I think that's something Eric Winaldo is going to talk to his team about at halftime, is just calming things down, making sure you're finding the right passes, and then just being better in the final third.
The Esprilla-Langsdorff combination has worked well in the first half. They've been a part of both goals for T2.
Yeah, those two guys have been very, very good. Esprilla with his power, his pace, and then Foster Langsdorff with the timing of his runs. It's a great combination when you think about having attacking options and getting goals.
All right. Well, coming up next, we'll take a look back at the full first half highlights and get you set for the second 45 minutes out here at Merlo Field between Portland Timbers 2 and Las Vegas Lights FC. The home opener for Portland here in 2019 will continue on after this. Sun is set here in Portland, Oregon, as we are just about set for the second half of action between Portland Timbers 2 and Las Vegas Lights FC. Let's go ahead and look back at the first half highlights. Start off in the 10th minute. It was Dyron Esprilla finding Foster Langsdorff.
Yeah, and Esprilla just with a wonderful touch there to get himself the space to get that cross across the box. And of course, Foster Langsdorff with a wonderful run out of midfield. This is a 30 or 40-yard run he makes. Nobody tracks him in the box. He finishes that goal for that first goal.
Langsdorff's first goal of 2019. Here he's taken down in the box, earns a penalty kick.
Yeah, pretty clear penalty. Doesn't take the penalty as well as he would have liked. A great save from the goalkeeper, though.
We move later on, 37th minute. Jake Leaker comes up big.
Tripa showing how good he is going away from goal to smash that ball across the face, and then Leaker with a wonderful save.
And then just before halftime, Foster Langsdorff does it again, earns a PK.
Yeah, Langsdorff getting in behind was just so difficult for Vegas to deal with, and then Asprilla just finishes that penalty, hits it right down the middle. Goalkeeper's never going to have a chance on that one, and 2-0 for T2.
Such an important goal to get it just before halftime, double the lead, and give T2 a lot of momentum coming into the second half. Meanwhile, for Portland Timbers, too, as we start to look towards the next 5 matches, they'll play the next couple on the road at Los Dos on the 30th, and into April against OKC Energy. They'll come back home, play Sacramento and Colorado Springs back-to-back weekends here at Merlo Field, and then back out on the road at one of the new clubs in USL, New Mexico, for that 5th match in the upcoming 5. As we mentioned, just about set for the second half of action between Portland Timbers 2 and Las Vegas Lights FC. Portland Timbers 2 will start off with the ball, and it'll be Foster Langsdorff once Farhad Dadko blows his whistle. There it is, and we are underway in the second half of the home opener for Portland Timbers 2. So we have a substitute to tell you about here as we start the second half. We'll get to that here momentarily. Marvin Loria coming out after 45 minutes, and replacing him will be Ryan Sierakowski, one of the new additions to this T2 side here in the second year under Cameron Knowles. Sierakowski, 21 years old, from McHenry, Illinois. Spent 4 years at Michigan State, making 82 starts, 33 goals, and 16 assists, and has made his presence felt here early in the year for T2. Hasn't necessarily got on the scorer sheet yet, but has impressed Cameron Knowles and his staff enough to play now in his 3rd straight match to start the season for T2. Early chance here for Las Vegas as the cross is deflected off of Harold Hansen. Important defending there by Todd Wharton to win it away, but gives it right back. This ball pops up in the air, and a foul called against Las Vegas as Nathan Smith was the man that was fouled. Lopez was coming in to try and put that header on frame.
And you can already see the energy from Las Vegas Lights to start this half. You have to imagine Eric Winalda got into his troops at halftime and said, look, guys, we've got to be better. We've got to push. We got to high press. We got to turn the ball over in there into the field and find that first goal, get ourselves back into this game. And you can already see it from these guys. For T2, I would imagine the conversation from Cam Knowles was more, okay, keep doing the things we're doing. However, we have to be a bit sharper. Certainly in our own third of the field, there were a few mistakes.
And here comes Foster Langsdorff the other direction. Corner of the box, lays it off for Asprilla. Asprilla shoots. That thing was knuckling, and Olsen has to just punch it over his net.
And the Langsdorff-Asprilla combination continues. Langsdorff's just doing a great job of finding those spaces in behind that back line. It's usually where Garcia Lopez has vacated that area, and Asprilla just taking that shot. Olsen thought he don't think he meant to parry that one over the bar, but he does, and it's a corner kick now for T2.
Just the second corner kick of the night for Portland. Wharton will come over to take it from the near side. All the way through the box, picked up there by Jadama. Now to Sierakowski, who make that Langsdorff, who takes the shot, blocked, and eventually played all the way back to Leaker. Asprilla does well to earn a throw. Palafox not happy with the near side official here. Seth Martin felt like he was fouled. Wharton does well to control in front of Cruz.
In that midfield three of Flores, Zambrano, and Wharton, it's going to be very important this half to just dictate the rhythm, dictate the pace of the game. If T2 is going to continue to have this lead, they're going to need to kill this game off with long stretches of possession and good decision making going forward. Those three guys are going to be really important in this half.
This was certainly nervy moments last year with the young side as this ball's chipped over the top for Garcia Lewis. Can't get anything on it. And it ends in a corner kick. They say Nathan Smith did get a touch to it, or no. Farhad Datko has overruled Babacar Jallo there on the far side and says it is a goal kick. But T2 did have some trouble maintaining leads throughout the course of last season when they take them into the second half. And it's something that certainly Cameron Knowles wants to see his side do better. Really maintain those leads, maintain the possession like you talked about, and make sure that they're not giving away cheap opportunities as the match goes along.
Well, if you go back to that San Antonio game on the road for T2, what I was most impressed about was the final 20 minutes of that game. They never really looked like they were under pressure. They weren't really stressed because they were in control of that game, and they made the right decisions. They possessed the ball. They sat in a low block when they had to, and then they countered to get the final goal to really close the game out. So it showed a lot of maturity for that T2 side. I think Cam Knowles was very impressed by that performance.
Langsdorff fouls Javan Torre there, so a restart for Las Vegas coming. Fans, follow Portland Timbers 2 and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN Plus, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at espnplus.com. Comes Para, lays it out wide for Cruz. Cruz 1v1 versus Hansen. Hansen does well to knock Cruz off the ball, and here comes Hansen full speed the other way. Heavy touch, can't get by Palafox, and then fouls Palafox.
We already see that Las Vegas Lights committing a lot more numbers into the attack in this half, and I think it's really starting with Torres, the number 23. He's getting a lot higher than we saw him in that first half, and it's going to be difficult for that back line for T2 to deal with and manage those numbers. But on the other end of the field, it's going to give them a lot of opportunities, a lot more space, I think, in there to play.
Flag up for offside, as that's Torres. Was caught in an offside position on the ball forward. Mojadama, 25-year-old from the Gambia, gets us back underway. Zambrano kind of slips, and Fair's able to work around him. Moby Fair grew up in Japan. Eventually finds Para. Para runs it inside the box, hits Tabaritaka, whose shot is blocked by Leaker. Big save there by Leaker once again. Flores tries to work the ball around Robinson, but can't get enough spin on it to keep it in play.
It was a really good movement from Las Vegas Lights. They're able to get the ball into the wide area and cross the ball back across the box, and it's a good chance there for the Lights, and Leaker's in the right spot to make the save. But T2 just getting very narrow in that side, and Harold Hansen needs to release from his outside back position. It's difficult, I think, for him. There's a lot of numbers there on that side, but you have to have a central midfielder player rotate in to help him, and then he needs to release.
Comes the throw.
We haven't really gotten to talk about it yet, Fletcher, but Robinson's got a heck of a throw, and in smaller, tighter fields, he's able actually to turn throw-ins into set pieces in his team's in the final third for his team, and you've seen them be very dangerous, the Lights, in situations like that. It's just an extra tool for Eric Winalda at his disposal in terms of scoring goals.
Tabaritaka gets a touch to the ball, goes down, felt like he was fouled by Nathan Smith, but Farhad Datko does not blow the whistle. Good work there by Jadama to find Wharton. Now to Hansen. Hansen work it over the top for Asprilla. Asprilla rises to win the header. He's fouled by Palafox. Not happy with that call is Miguel Palafox. In the end, a restart for Portland. We'll see the first substitution of the night for Eric Winalda's side. Christian Torres will be the man coming off. And coming on will be number 17, Brian Arguez.
This is just a like-for-like substitution for Winalda, getting probably some fresh legs in and just continuing to work in that midfield. A lot of work to be done for the Lights to dig themselves out of this hole.
They've certainly looked good, have the Lights, here through the first 8+ minutes of the second half, as T2 looked to build upon that 2-0 lead. Roy Miller eventually loses possession. Got it caught up in the spokes a bit, maybe a little risky, and here comes Moby Fair. Make that Pablo Cruz. Cruz down the near side. Palafox makes the overlapping run. Pressured by Asprilla. Cruz gets it to Fair, and now into space for Robinson. So Las Vegas Lights coming out with some energy here in the second half. Again, a team that's still looking for their first win. They did earn a scoreless draw in their season opener.
And it's that ball right there that T2's got to be wary of when Tripa gets the ball in a deep position and he plays that ball forward. It's those runners you have to be aware of. And on the back line, certainly, that's the one guy. When he's on the ball, you got to drop a couple yards. If there's no pressure on the ball, make sure you're very aware of that pass, because he can play a nice final ball. And I'm surprised, Fletcher, when I look at this game so far, I thought Vegas would be a lot better on the ball in terms of this field.
Great work by Sierakowski to get it to Flores. It's deflected and ends in the fourth corner kick of the night for Portland.
Yeah, and with the numbers Lights are committing forward, there's just opening up some gaps there in behind. You see Flores attacking that space that's left for the outside back and just going 1v1 at Robinson, cuts the ball inside on his right foot and tries for that far post.
Todd Wharton waiting for the whistle from Dotko. We'll float this one right to Asprilla at the 6-yard box, but straight into the waiting arms of Thomas Olsen.
Those guys, Asprilla, can just absolutely jump out of the room.
First real opportunity of the second half for Portland, in what has become an even more back and forth affair, as Smith taken down by Parra after he cleared the ball away.
It's going to be very important for T2 to weather this storm, these first 15 minutes, when Vegas are just expending all this energy trying to get numbers forward and get that next goal. They got to make sure they maintain that defense, that discipline in the middle of the pitch. Don't give anything up. Don't give up any chances. And once you get through this stretch, the opportunities, I think, will open up for them on the other end.
Done well thus far through 11 minutes of the second half.
Going back to my thought, I thought looking at this Vegas Lights team going into this game, this is the pitch that would suit them. They like to get the ball down. They like to play. They're very obviously aggressive with their style, but I figured they would have a lot of space to play in this game, but they just haven't found the right spaces in this game.
Here's Asprilla, tries a first-time cross to Flores, but it goes off the chest of Robinson.
If you could compare the width of the pitches to the other games they played at home, against OKC Energy, those are fields that are a lot smaller and a little bit more narrow. So these are pitches where they can really use that width, just like Palafox right there, finding those open gaps and those wide areas where they can attack.
Smith wins a header in front of Garcia Lopez, rolls out to touch, and we'll see the second substitution of the night for Las Vegas Lights FC. It will be Edwin Rivas coming on for Pablo Cruz, who will be coming off. Edwin Rivas, the 27-year-old from Los Angeles, California, Cal United 2 and Toronto FC 2 in his past. Comes on after playing for a couple semi-pro clubs a couple seasons ago. Harold Hansen wins the header, but it goes out for a corner kick.
And Rivas will slot there right in the same left wing area that Cruz was occupying, and just fresh legs there from Eric Winalda.
All in towards the penalty spot. Header won by Asprilla. Only as far as Rivas, who loses out to Asprilla. He plays it out to Flores. Break could be on for Portland. Flores waits too long on it, taken down behind the play. Tabor Iteka is the man who fouled Flores, but then a yellow card
Rivas.
Being shown to Rivas. So third yellow card of the night. All three shown to Las Vegas Lights. This one to Rivas.
This is really well done by the official here. Esprilla gets professionally fouled there by Rivas. Play allows to be continued, and another foul there on Flores. The official gets that one right because he gives the yellow card to Rivas and then calls the foul there on Flores.
Who's up? Who's down? Where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL Championship Power Rankings, only on USLChampionship.com. About 40 yards away from goal for Renzo Zambrano. Be a two-man wall for Lights FC. Goes back post, and due to pressure from Jadama, Lights FC has to play it out across their end line.
This is a really good ball there from Renzo Zambrano, and nobody, Esprilla should continue his run here. He stops at the last minute. I think if he keeps going there and attacks that space, I think he gets an opportunity on net.
Hour in here at Merlot Field. Portland Timbers 2 on top, 2-0. If you're just joining us, Fletcher Johnson and Nat Borchers here with you. Pleasure to have you along on the night of the home opener for Portland Timbers 2. Wharton sends the cross in towards the back post. Jadama touches off of him after it went over the head of Esprilla, sends it back into the mixer, headed away by Las Vegas. Only as far as Zambrano, who hits a fizzing ball that looks like it was going towards net. Blocked, though. Now at the feet of Roy Miller. Miller finds Langsdorff, but stolen away by Las Vegas.
The difference between these two teams right now is transition. T2 is doing a good job of just managing the right spaces when they're pushing numbers forward and not leaving a lot for Vegas to counterattack into, whereas on the other end, it seems like Vegas is leaving so much space every time they commit numbers.
Great work defensively by Harold Hansen to track back and take that one off of Parra, and then Zambrano is fouled for by Taborateca. Eric Winalda having a conversation with Farhad Dadko, feeling like that was not a foul and that things aren't going his team's way.
Yeah, a lot of frustration now from the Lights, and yeah, that's a foul. Preston just coming in there and getting Renzo Zambrano.
One of the other interesting numbers for T2 coming out of last season, Nat, was the fact that it was feast or famine at home. They did not have a draw at home. They won or lost every single match.
Yeah, and it was a conversation we would have on the broadcast about what needed to change for T2 to be more successful. And I think we always came back to just managing those big moments and understanding, okay, when you're up, you need to know how to manage a lead. Either you're dropping down into a low block and defending, or you're killing the game away with possession. They weren't really able to do that, and I think a lot of it came down to inexperience. Whereas this year so far, we're already seeing the team just a little bit more mature. So, you know, you have Roy Miller in the lineup helping things out in the back. And then I think a lot of guys have stepped up and done a really good job, especially in midfield. Todd Wharton has been a great addition. Zambrano looks a better player this year already. Modou Jadama in the back line has had a wonderful year so far. So I think those things have really helped T2 in terms of managing those big moments.
I mean, you look at this club too, and the way things were organized last year as we await this corner kick. Comes in, easily headed away by Langsdorff. You had players who were either in their first season in Portland or playing their first season in America, whether that was Marvin Loria, Foster Langsdorff, guys that towards the end of the season became crucial pieces of a club that made a playoff or made a run into the playoffs. As Garcia Lopez cross comes in, finds the feet of Torre in their top of the box. That's the defender in there in the box. Palafox, too heavy of a touch. But Las Vegas Lights keeping the pressure up, keeping the ball in the attacking third. Jadama clears the ball away on the cross from Rivas and out for another corner kick. That's already the 6th of the night for Las Vegas.
T2 absorbing a bit of pressure, and it's good box defending there from Jadama, just following the run, following the cross, and just getting it out to safety. And then now it's about defending the set piece.
We mentioned in the first half so many big bodies for Las Vegas Lights. Important for Portland to win these headers. Is towards the back post. 2 men there. And it's wide of the net. Good thing, too, as there were 2 Las Vegas Lights players there and just 1 T2 defender.
They've been trying to hit the front post so far, but then they go to the back post and mix it up here. And it looks like it's Torre, the center back, just getting ahead on that. He scored last week against OKC Energy. He's a dangerous guy on set pieces. T2's got to make sure they mark him and get a body on him, so it's not that easy.
Torre being chased down by Langsdorff, just clears it out to midfield. Great header win there by Parra, and then Roy Miller takes one off the face off a deflection, and he goes down to the ground. Not sure if it was a ball or if it was maybe a flying arm that caught Roy Miller. Looks like right in the nose there, and we are going to have our first visit out onto the field from T2 trainer Greg Wakefield.
I don't know what it is about being a center back, but seriously, it seems like every game I played in, you always took one to the face. From it's either a hand or it's a ball or some other body part you take to the face. And Roy Miller's been in so many situations like this. He does a great job on this play of providing cover, though, for Madu Jadama, who steps up to win that ball, and then he covers for him. And it just looks like it's an arm, I think, that just catches him from the number 19 Preston and just gets him there. And I don't think there's anything malicious there, no intent, but certainly could be a bloody nose or something else for Miller to worry about.
So what you're saying is, now that you're up in the broadcast booth, you're catching less flying chicken wings from me up here, right?
I don't know, man. You're flailing around now sometimes when you're getting excited, so I got to be careful.
Oh, yes. Good times for sure. Our second year in the booth together. It's a pleasure to be up here with you, and a pleasure to be calling these matches for Portland Timbers, too. It was a thrilling year last year. I mean, the success that they had as we take another look at the shot to the face for Roy Miller.
There's a better look here, and Miller just goes to clear it, and then, yeah, he just flails there with the arm, and it just gets him right there. But no, it's been a pleasure, Fletcher. It's been so much fun to call these games and to see these players grow so much, over the years, because it's a process in this league, and this is a T2 team that it's not necessarily just about winning for T2, whereas for Las Vegas Lights, a lot of talent come through from the academy or from the Timbers, and you get to see these guys becoming young men and becoming young professionals.
And what better coach to learn from than Cameron Knowles, a guy who's continuing his education as a coach, but also has experience at the MLS level as an assistant, as a player, and someone who is very level-headed, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and is someone who really can level out these young players as they learn the ropes and learn what it's like to be a professional.
And they say that a team takes on the personality of its head coach, and the personality of this team is level-headed. It's more mature, and that's because Cam Knowles is that type of a guy. He's not a roller coaster in terms of emotion. He knows what he wants to get out of players. He's a defender by trade, so certainly he wants to be organized defensively. I thought it was interesting talking to him about the ironing board before games and how he starts getting in the zone by getting the iron out and starting to iron his clothes and starts getting pumped up for it. I thought that was really fun.
Great touch off the chest by Ryan Sierkowski, who's made his presence felt here in the first little bit. Langsdorff now with it down in the corner. Great first touch to get it out of the corner and away from the defense. Now to Asprilla. T2 playing a man down momentarily as Roy Miller continues to be attended to here on the sideline. Harold Hansen's ball looking back post for Langsdorff. Important catch there by Olsen as that ball was skimming across the ground, and now Hansen has to quickly track back into position. Once again, T2 still playing a man down. Roy Miller still getting attended to here on the sideline. Though T2 is readying a substitution as Max Ornstill is getting some instructions from Aiden Brown down here on the near sideline, just in case Roy Miller cannot go back into the game. He's got the tissue in the nose, does Miller. But Wharton is slid back into that center back spot alongside Mo Jadama.
They just got to plug that nose up, man. Throw a few of those gauze wipes in there and get after it.
As Asprilla fouls Rivas.
This is a very dangerous part of the field for T2 to be giving up a set piece and a bit clumsy from Aspria there on the challenge. They haven't defended these very well. We saw the one in the first half, Fletcher, where they just weren't in the right positions, and I think a better ball, a better run, they could have gotten scored on.
So they brought a new jersey over for Roy Miller. As they got the nose plugged up, he's taking the jersey off now. And we'll get the new jersey. But he will not be on the field for this dangerous restart. Threepa has been quiet in the second half, stands over this one. He'll strike it. Good ball, finds the head of his target. And Las Vegas has pulled one back. That is Gabe Robinson. His first of 2019. And with just over 20 minutes to go, it's a one-goal game.
It's a wonderful ball there in from Threepa. And Gabe Robinson, what a great run there. Finds himself open in the box and just gets his head on it, smashes it past Leaker, who's just in no man's land. He's got no chance, but he's actually pretty well marked there, is Robinson. But what a great header to get one back for the Lights.
Roy Miller back in the game now, but my goodness, how big that flailing arm was from Tabor Ateka. Knocked Miller out. You can only imagine that he would have been right there in the mix had he not been getting tended to on the sideline during that restart.
Yeah, that hurts T2 to have him out in a situation like that where maybe he could have made a big play. But we haven't talked as much about Robinson so far and how good he is in the air. We talked to Winalda before the game about his aerial prowess. He's compared him to Eddie Pope, one of the great center backs in American soccer history, and said he's just as good a header of the ball as Eddie was. And you have to just watch just how big he is and how high this guy can jump, and a fantastic example.
So this restart will be taken by Flores. Actually not quite as good of a position as the Vegas restart moments ago. And this one floated a little too high up in the air, and easy stuff for Olsen.
Yeah, it's poor from Flores. He needs to do better. He needs to drive that ball across the box. That's just easy pickings for the goalkeeper.
Nervy moments here for T2. As you could argue, with the way that Las Vegas has played in the second half, maybe a deserved goal for them, as they've really controlled play, and will make their third and final substitution of the evening, as it will be Matt Thomas coming in place of Miguel Palafox. So technically Matt Thomas listed as a midfielder, Palafox the left back tonight. So we'll have to see if this is Eric Winalda potentially going to a back three and pushing another man into the midfield.
Yeah, Winalda's not afraid to do that. He did that in the last game against OKC to pull a defender off, bring a midfielder on, and just give the team a little bit more of an attacking boost, put some more numbers into the midfield. Probably going to play with more of a back three now, push on the right back, Garcia Lopez, and try to put more pressure on this T2 team.
Ball cleared by Vegas all the way back to Jadama, who will play it back to Leaker. Las Vegas has certainly pushed those numbers higher and looked more active here in the second half than they did in the first half. Spria takes down Thomas. Eventually falls to the feet of Rivas. Jadama coming back quickly. Leaker with the save. Boy.
In this right-sided defense, Harold Hansen got caught out there, and it's just 1v1 here from Madhu Jadama to deal with Ribas, who takes that ball and just tries to smash into the far post. Well held by the goalkeeper there, but T2 needs to be a bit more connected there on that back line. It's just too easy for the Lights.
Throw in for Las Vegas. 17 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. Arguez gets around Harold Hansen, but his pass goes astray. Finds Aspria. Now to Langsdorff. Langsdorff, first time hit towards the back post. Finds a chest to Sierakowski. He plays to Aspria. Bicycle kick and a goal for Tyrone Asprilla, maybe one of the best you'll see all season. And T2 are back out in front by 2.
Oh my goodness, what a wonderful goal this is from Asprilla. He just takes a perfect touch off his chest and just smashes that ball into the side netting. No chance for the goalkeeper. Just a pass there from Sierkowski, and Asprilla just says, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take me some of that. What a great goal that is. Unbelievable goal. He's getting a standing ovation from the crowd, which is well-deserved. I could watch this replay all day long. What an amazing technique that is. It is such a hard thing to do, to score a bicycle kick goal like that. What a goal.
Have some people asking if that's Cristiano Ronaldo out there or Dairo Asprilla, the way he finished that one.
Wow. Well, and we talked earlier about the talent that he has, and he can be a bit of an enigma with this Timbers team for both T2 and for the Timbers. But wow, he can come up with some just amazing plays, such as that one right there. And you said it, Fletch. I don't know if we're going to see a better goal like that all year.
Well, what a goal for Dairo Asprilla, who has a brace here this evening. The penalty kick goal near the end of the first half, as the offside flag was up on Las Vegas.
Give credit to Sierkowski on the pass. He sees Asprilla open in the box and just plays a simple ball to him, and Asprilla does everything.
And that's not one of your bicycle kicks where you're not hitting it and you just get kind of lucky. That was a rope into the side netting.
Yeah, and he actually, the ball goes away from him. He takes a touch away from him so he can set that up. And it's really hard to chest that ball to the right position to get your body right to do that. I mean, I could never do that, of course, but it's incredible to watch. You don't see many of those goals scored around the world because they're so hard to do. And I think if I'm being critical defensively of the Lights, Robinson was way too far off of Asprilla. He needs to get closer. If he's closer, there's no way Asprilla is able to get that shot off. But full credit to Asprilla for taking that shot and for believing in himself to make it.
And what a response from T2 to get the goal back less than 5 minutes after they gave it up. Asprilla down the line again, fakes the cross. 1v1 versus the defender. Couple step overs, decides to touch back once, twice. Overlapping run coming from Hansen. And then does not earn the throw.
But that's what you want to see if you're Cam Knowles, is the response. And you saw that in the first game at Tulsa. They go down a goal early, and then they're able to claw their way back into the game. They get the equalizer from Jadama on a set piece, and it gives you confidence as a team to know, okay, we go down a goal, we can come back. You know, we give up a goal, we can score another one. I think Cam Knowles will be really pleased with his team's reaction in this situation.
Yeah, I think we can pretty assuredly label this SportsCenter Top 10 tonight.
I hope so. I don't know what else it takes to get on SportsCenter. I mean, I know it is March Madness, but that's a maddening bicycle kick from Asprilla.
If you're a Las Vegas fan, that's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. I mean, so impressive. That's why we watch the game. It's for moments like that. It gives us so much pleasure, I think, as fans, to see things like that. So hats off to Dairo Asprilla tonight.
And there's no doubt, as this ball gets brought forward by Nathan Smith to Flores, that these moments early in the season, when you take advantage of your opportunities like that, that sets the stage for what happens the rest of the year. And so Portland can now pull back on this moment and go, you know what? We may not have played the greatest for the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the second half, but you know what? When they struck us, we struck them right back. And they can carry that momentum moving forward. A stray ball by Renzo Zambrano, and the break could be on here for Las Vegas. 3v2 if they hurry. Harold Hansen tracks back quickly. Jadama does well to block the cross and then win it away and earn the foul against Rivas.
This is really well done from Jadama to get back in position and make that play.
Substitution for Portland, the second for Cameron Knowles. It'll be Brian Hurtado coming on, making his second appearance for T2, and Foster Langsdorf, the scorer of the opening goal in the home campaign in 2019 for T2, coming off. Your thoughts on Foster Langsdorf, nearly 80 minutes tonight?
Yeah, I think he had a fantastic performance. He was just so smart. He's such a smart player when it comes to running and finding space, and he found a lot of space behind that Lights back line all night long. The two penalties were credit to his ability to get in behind, and obviously on the first goal it makes a great run, 30-40 yard sprint to get on the end of an Esprit across. And you look at Hurtado, who's coming in. We've seen him feature in this last game against San Antonio as a winger. Now we get to see him up top. He's a Venezuelan player. He's a tall player, very technical, left-footed, and we haven't seen a whole lot of him. So I'm excited, Fletcher, to see what he can do in a new position, not in the wing, but up top now.
Yeah, the 6', 19-year-old on loan from Mineros de Guiana, Venezuelan club.
I think you got to keep that in mind as well as you're watching Harold Hansen and you watch Hurtado at 19 years old. So that means not a whole lot of experience, certainly a lot of learning to do.
Hansen is just absolutely cleaned out by Tabor Ateka, who can't believe the foul was called. And Farhad Datko was going, you see the guy laying on the ground that you took out there?
I think the referee's done a really good job in this match of managing the game and making sure things haven't gotten out of hand. You can see the Lights players getting frustrated. Obviously down 2 goals. They haven't played well. Looks like the referee's going to give a talking to here to number 19.
Yeah, Tabor Ateka, player who's on loan from MSK Vyskov in the Czech Republic, played in 2017 with the Charlotte Independence. Is a young player, only has 4 appearances in his pro career. Tonight's his 5th. Plays with the Cameroonian U20s. You know, this is a Las Vegas team that's already experienced some injuries as well. Something that really hasn't been known until we chatted with Eric Winalda yesterday, was that went down with a torn ACL, I believe it is. So he's out for the remainder of the season. That's a big blow for them. Important defender with some experience, 26 years old, player who knows what he's doing, played with Tijuana and Liga MX in 2012. So that's a big blow for Eric Winalda's side, especially here early in the year.
Yeah, he talked about just the leadership component that De La Fuente had and how it's affected his team so far. You lose a guy like that with an injury like that, you know he's going to be out probably the whole season, which just means you're just lacking another leader on your field and somebody who can help you manage difficult situations. And no doubt, the Lights are in a difficult situation. They're going to be, unless they do something quickly, they're going to be winless in their first 3 games, and they got to figure out how to dig this one out. And that's where you need your leaders and your veteran players.
Well, T2 has experienced some injuries of their own. You have Nico de Vera, who was signed in the offseason, played with New York Red Bulls 2 in the past, and he tore his Achilles, in the first week of training, and so he will be out for the remainder of the season. So it's just part of the game, part of something that every team has to deal with, but when it strikes different players at different times, could affect a team more than another. It certainly hurts Las Vegas Lights in this situation here this evening. Ball fizzes over the top of the heads of Esprit and Jadama, although he's able to track it down there in the far corner. We'll send the cross back in, headed on by Sierakowski. Looks like the flag was maybe up for offside there. A foul was called, maybe on Hurtado, as Las Vegas Lights push the numbers forward quickly. Tabor Ateka lays off for Thomas. Thomas nutmegs Wharton into the box. Cross comes in, up in the air, chested down, back to Tabor Ateka. Played to Para, shoots. Important touch there from Leaker. Sliding Las Vegas Lights player at the back post. Leaker needed to make that save, and then this ball looked like it was pretty darn close to that top right corner of Leaker's net.
The Lights just bringing everything at the T2 backline, and this is just a great cross across the box. Leaker gets down, parries it away to the opposite side. That's just textbook goalkeeping there, and then dealing with this shot across the box. This is a very dangerous Lights team right now. They're committing a lot of numbers forward into the attack, and Jadama also had a really good play on that last one, but Jadama, Miller, Smith, Hanson, this back line is really going to have to buckle down and make sure they don't give up any easy opportunities for this Lights team.
Get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for Portland Timbers 2 and then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus get reminders on Portland Timbers 2's next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. Throw in for T2. Looking to move to 2-0-1 on the season if they can maintain this 2-goal lead. This is the last match that'll finish tonight. If they get the victory, they would be tied for first place here very early in the season in the USL Championship's Western Division. Arguez working his way around Zambrano. Able to pick out Parra. Parra gets it caught up in the spokes. Still able to get it to Taborateka, though, and now makes the run down the line. He's onside. Hanson has to track back quickly. Picks his head up, does Parra, looks, and too high over the top of Kevin Garcia Lopez. Rolls all the way through to Flores. Flores quickly coming down the far side of the field. And T2 looks to settle things a bit. Roy Miller back out on the field. Looks like he's got those tissues out of his nose now. They were in both nostrils, so I can't imagine that was good for the oxygen levels running around on the field.
Yeah, glad the blood's clotted for him and he can move forward with the game.
Chip over the top for Taborateka. Does well to win it. Now lays it off for Tripa, but the offside flag was up on Taborateka.
And Cam Knowles is going to have to do something about this right side of defense. Hansen's looking gassed, and the Lights just committing too many numbers over that side. So you're going to have to rotate out one of the central midfielders, or you have to bring Espria back to help out defensively because it's just too many numbers for Hansen to deal with right now.
Inside 4.5 minutes plus stoppage time remaining between T2 winning their home opener. Just continue to increase the momentum, getting points early in the season for T2. Comes to Baka down the line. Cross comes into the box. Leaker easily off his line to collect. Coming into tonight's match, Leaker was interviewed, said that T2's hungry for results and they have something to prove tonight here at home. It's a storyline that we've talked about, the desire to be better at home than they were last season. Still picked up 9 wins at home last season, but the 8 losses were something that the club did not feel good about. And Leaker, though he was not here and a part of that, well knows what happened last season and has certainly done his part to make sure that T2 walk away with a victory here this evening.
Yeah, and he's backed up his words. The team has looked hungry, especially to start the game. They came out on the front foot and they got their goals. The team just looked like they wanted to make their mark against this Lights team and have a good first performance at home, and they've done that.
Jadama plays it safe, out to touch. Parra will take the throw in. Looks like he's wiping the ball off and going to try and send this one long into the box.
I look for Torre and Robinson to be trying to get on the end of this one. There's 2 big bodies there in the box that T2's going to have to worry about.
Arguez also a tall player being defended by Hurtado. Cleared away by T2. Final 2.5 minutes plus stoppage time. Can Portland see this out? 2-goal advantage. Numbers if T2 hurry. Hurtado does well to maintain possession, gets around a couple guys, but then Garcia Lopez beats him out to the last ball. That was actually Sierkowski.
If he just would have turned to the outside there, he would have had Hurtado wide open there in the space.
Roy Miller chest down the long ball forward, now plays it out to the far side to Hurtado. He's got a ton of room out there. He's got Flores making the run. One touch from Hurtado, sends it in, back post, Flores gets to it, but can't quite turn it on frame.
Hurtado just finding a little bit of space there on the wing and just hits that one up into Flores, who makes a great run across the box.
Great vision by Asprilla to pick off that pass. Now into the box, looking for the hat trick. Shoots, blocked by Torre.
The Lights just getting a little bit complacent playing out of the back there. Asprilla reads it, does a great job of running at the defender 1v1. But credit to Torre, he holds his line, makes sure he pushes Asprilla wide, and then cuts down the angle, makes the tackle. That's really good defending there from Torre.
Zambrano's the man that will come over to take this one. Wearing the captain's armband once again tonight. Doesn't get it past the first man. Go out for a T2 throw. Final minute of regulation plus stoppage time remaining. Zambrano throws into Flores. And then Zambrano is fouled by Parra. As we mentioned at halftime, T2 played their first 2 matches of the road, of the season on the road. Come home for this one, then back out on the road for 2 more. Los Dos is a side that lost to Real Monarchs today 5-0. Seems like a club that is in a bit of disarray right now, and an opportunity to maybe pick up a result there. And then at Oklahoma City Energy, before coming home for 3 of the next 4.
Yeah, you want to face some of these teams who haven't figured things out yet. Obviously, Los Dos is a side that's more glued in on the developmental side of things versus winning. So they're going to have a pretty fluid roster. But you want to play these teams early on in the season that is the best opportunity to get results.
Turnover by T2. And Asprilla, look at that pace from Asprilla to track back. Miller there to win the header. Great touch by Sierakowski. Now back to Asprilla. Asprilla can run, and he's done it all night.
I think one of the most impressive things about this T2 performance and some of the performances already this season has been the work rate and the recovery of the team in transition, getting behind the ball after losing it. You didn't see that from the Lights tonight. Their players just weren't as hungry to get back as T2's players has been, and I think that makes a big time difference when it comes to defending as a group in the right positions when you have your players committed to recovering and coming back in the defensive areas.
And Asprilla does well there to win a header. Forces Matt Thomas just headed out to touch. We're through nearly half of the added 3 minutes here at Merlo Field. Better play from Las Vegas Lights in the second half. But T2 answered on arguably the goal of the year here in week 3, a bicycle kick from 15 yards away from Dairon Asprilla. Here comes Arguez, sakes the shot, and it looks like it takes a deflection off of Leaker. He was diving to his right. Don't know if that would have been wide of frame, but Leaker wasn't willing to take the chance.
Yeah, Arguez just saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead and step up and take this shot. Nobody's closing me down. Leaker's forced to make that save. It was probably going wide, but he does the safe thing and puts it out for the corner kick.
Final minute of the match at the discretion of Farhad Datko. Corner kick to come for Las Vegas. Both of their goals this season have come off of set pieces. This one fizzed in towards the near post, headed away by Portland. And now at the feet of Wharton. Wharton finds Flores in space. T2 have numbers if they hurry. Nathan Smith, he's got Hurtado, Sierakowski, and Asprilla. Gets it caught up in the spokes a bit. Now plays it out wide for Hurtado. Flag remains down. Hurtado has it. Las Vegas tracks back. And Hurtado happy to settle things a bit. Will now send the cross in and concede possession. Then Nathan Smith fouls Las Vegas. Final 10 seconds at the discretion of Farhad Datko. And there's the whistle. T2 remain undefeated in 2019 and win their home opener against Las Vegas Lights 3-1, moving to 7 points on the season and a 2-0-1 record. What a start to 2019 for Cameron Knowles and his staff and this Portland Timbers 2 club.
Yeah, and it's another performance from T2 that looked more mature, and defensively they were sound. They did the right things, especially when they were in the middle third of the pitch. They were disciplined there, and then transition. They just roasted this Lights team and found the spaces that they left, especially when they were going forward in the attack. I think the concerning part for Eric Winalda is, okay, we've only scored 2 goals on set pieces, and we haven't scored anything in the run of play.
All right, we'll come back, take a look at some of the stats from this one, and get you set for what's to come for Portland Timbers 2. But tonight, a brace from Dyron Espria helps Portland emerge victorious 3-1 over Las Vegas Lights FC here in the home opener at Merlo Field.